Okay. How are we doing? Anybody? Where's my chat? Where are my chat features? Ah, there we go. Okay, cool. How's the sound? How's the sound? Test, test. Good? Okay, perfect. All right. Well, it's 8:35. Why don't we just get right the fuck into it? All right. All right, I'm glad it's good. Let's see. Let's go right back to the beginning of my playlist here. Let me turn on this Mandelbrot Zoom. This is something that we'll get into at a later date about this weird shape and how you can zoom into it forever. But just enjoy it for now, because I just got a vent. I had a terrible, no good, very bad day. I got way too little sleep. I was in a rush all morning, late to work. And then when I get there, I'm doing research on the man who we will be talking about. And I have an OtterBox on my phone, but I don't have the faceplate. And my phone, I'm just flipping through YouTube videos, flips out of my hand, flat as a pancake, right on the ground. Now there's like 2 millimeters of edge of the OtterBox that should catch it and stop the screen from smacking into the ground, but that did not happen. And from there, I had to. Luckily, we had a light day at work, so I was able to leave work early and go I had to drive an hour to the T-Mobile store, which is always a great experience. There's two guys, and they take 15 minutes to deal with one person. I don't know how that's supposed to be economic at all. But I know that these guys have phones in the store. I have an insurance policy on my phone. I drove an hour there to get to this guy for him to tell me that the best course of action was just to go online or call the service and get the replacement overnight shipped to me. So on top of everything else, I had a 2 hour plus round trip down the drain, and I came back home. I did my usual routine. Well, not my usual routine, but on a very stressful day, when you get home and you just have that feeling, and you're like that George Thorogood song, except it's one shot, one beer, one nap. And 2 hours later, I was feeling all right. I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to muster up the chutzpah to stream tonight, but I am here because I love to stream to Austin Berry and my girlfriend. They're so great. I love you both. Let's continue. This is going to be a what grinds my gears segment, and what really grinds my gears here is the modern phone. Who decided on this? We had beautiful phones with buttons and two screens, and they would flip open. They were like tough as fuck. And somewhere along the line, people decided, you know what people want? They want it to be thin as fuck. It has two buttons on the side, and the rest of it is just a big glass button. And it breaks if you look at it funny. If your attractiveness is below a 4 and you do the face lock on your screen, it will crack the screen. And I can't stand this anymore. It's the what's the word? Planned obsolescence. These are made to break. They're more technologically advanced than ever before, but to even keep one for longer than a few months, you have to buy the OtterBox, you have to buy the screen protector, and you should probably buy one of those fucking pop-it things to put on the back, or you won't be able to hold it properly. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke that this is where we've come to. When in the past, I used to have this phone. Come on. Yeah. The chocolate. I can still get one for $100. I might still buy. I might switch back for $100. I might switch back. Look at that. It has the regular phone face. It has the buttons on the inside. It's effectively 2 separate phones. So if you break one, you can still make calls. You can still text the people who matter to you. And then you can eventually get it. It's not like one and done. And it's not like you needed to go and buy like a reinforced case. Like you got the phone for free through the plan, and then you have to spend another $120 to make sure that the phone is safe. That's a jip. It's horrible. It's no way to be manufacturing your products, and it's just horrible. And you know why? Well, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say you know why. I should say why this confuses me is because you have stuff like this, which, tell me if you can hear this. This just came out.
Hi, Verizon launched the first 5G network, and now we want to be the first to give everyone the joy of 5G by giving every customer a new 5G phone on us.
Why do you want to give everyone a free phone if it's liable to break really easily? The whole point is to get us on the plan and start siphoning our data, because that's worth more than any call or text that we could be paying for. Is just selling my keystrokes and occasionally my meat strokes to the highest bidder. It's horrible. It's disgusting. And think about what you do in work for your life, and think about that 10 seconds of commercial that you just saw. Come on.
Old customers, new customers, families, businesses, in-laws, law firms. Every customer. New 5G phones when you trade in your old ones. And if you're not a customer, we'll help cover the cost to switch. Just ask Wanda. She's been with us since now.
You could do that. Anybody could do that. If you want to get mad, you should take out your phone. I didn't even bother to do it because it would make me mad. Take out your phone and Google Kate McKinnon net worth. And just sit there and seethe as we move on. And there's one thing that I wanted to get on. I tend to flirt at the edge of a lot of like conspiracy theories, and of course the part of the ethos of the show would be to find one or two true things within any conspiracy. People were talking about 5G like frying your brain. They're talking about it giving you cancer, this and that. That's ridiculous. Like, I mean, maybe it is true, but I can't prove it. Nobody can prove it. It's ridiculous. What is undeniably true about the ever-evolving generations, the 5th generation onward, is we're hitting a point now where everything can be connected to the internet. And that's the scary thing. Forget what the tower does or what the waves do. It's like you'll have a smart doorbell. You'll have everything delivered by robot and drone. They'll report what you cook in the microwave to Facebook so that they can better advertise you like man meals. That's where it gets scary. They'll give you a smart piano so that if you play any like nasty songs, they'll be able to pick up on it and send some people down to do a wellness check on you. So let's move on to my last grinded gear, and it is this. If you can see, I have one here. This boost oxygen stuff is, as far as I can tell, it's a scam. I have an inhaler. This is one piece of medical information that my private medical information that I will readily share with the internet at large. Is that my lungs are shit, and I need this thing, and you can see just in this tiny thing how much pressure one has. Did you see? You saw? It came out like a big old puff. This claims to have 2 liters of 95% pure aviators breathing oxygen. So like for jet fighters. But you can kind of smell it in the air. It's peppermint flavor. It's flavored air, which is like we're literally hitting we're hitting that we're hitting a real life version of the Spaceballs bit, Perry Air. Like, this is a joke. It doesn't do anything. You taste a bit of peppermint. That's it. And it says, like, you know, fuels, oxygen is really good. Oxygen is 21% in the air, and the boost oxygen is 95% pure breathing oxygen. Professional athletes inhale supplemental oxygen. So there, you know, you got to get it. But the first line of fine print is, these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. To be fair, the Food and Drug Administration was probably telling you, like, what kinds of cigarettes were good for you back in the 50s. So maybe it is good. Maybe my lungs are just so shit that I can't enjoy the refreshing puff of a Boost energy canister. But for $8, I might sue. If we can get a class action suit together, that would be fun. I would hop on board with that. I would love to see if they can actually prove any sort of positive benefit. So let's go back to the Mandelbrot here real quick, because I have a piece of reading material. Where was it? There's our boy. Okay, so I will be starting some sort of place where I transmit these writings to the internet, but for now, I really prefer just to write. I bought an electric typewriter because I can't do the screen for art. I don't feel like it's not natural, frankly. So what I have for you here is just a short piece. It is entitled "The Case for Hypocrisy" by me. I forgot what my fake name was going to be. Let's call me Ted Nugent. I'll be Ted Nugent for this one. Okay. What do the most powerful and successful people in the world all have in common? If you could get past their armed guards and ask them, they'd probably have some canned answer about sticking it to your guns, believing in yourself, and never giving up. A worse writer than I would probably include the old boomer line of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, which I suppose I just did. Does this make me the very sort of writer I just callously sneak dissed? Am I as shallow and hacky as those I see myself above? The answer is yes. Harsh truth aside, how does this relate to our opening question? Allow me to explain. In a poem, Walt Whitman once wrote, quote, "Do I contradict myself? Very well, then I contradict myself. I am large. I contain multitudes." Unquote. Writing in the mid-1800s, Whitman touched on the true solution to our query. It wasn't any major discovery in his day, nor would it be so regarded in the courts of ancient kings or the future dimly lit back rooms of the owners of the world. Simply put, I speak of that age-old trait, long considered a vice of the highest severity, but employed by winners and authority figures all over the world. In a word, hypocrisy. Saying one thing and doing another. Establishing a set of rules only to break them at your convenience. Subverting the values you publicly espouse the second it becomes lucrative. Hold on. I'm checking the stream here. Are we still up? We are still up. Beautiful. Okay. Establishing a set of rules only to break them at your earliest convenience. Subverting the values you publicly espouse the second it becomes lucrative to do so. No matter where you look in the world for a system to trust in, you will invariably find glaring hypocrisies that never fail to manifest when that system is put into practice. Capitalists love to rattle off the shining glory of free market values as they buy your politicians and hire people to write the laws that they will pass. Communists describe a post-national utopia where the workers own the means of production, but they have yet to get past the stage where an authoritarian, single-party state owns the workers. The Pope will quote Jesus' love of the poor and his disdain for the rich from a marble palace. Democracy is the greatest form of government, as long as you vote how the rich people on TV tell you. I could go on, but hopefully these examples will suffice my point. With all that said, one could be forgiven for believing that I harbor some disdain for hypocrisy. The same as any other self-respecting weirdo with undiagnosed autism and an internet addiction. It may come as a shock that one would be wrong. Since no one else seems to have the stones to do it, it falls upon me to be hypocrisy's angel, its herald, its priest, and its prophet. Like the Greek tale of Prometheus, I shall steal the fire of the gods and gift it to the teeming masses of humanity. If what Marx says is true, and religion is the opiate of the masses, then surely hypocrisy is the pure Colombian fish-scale cocaine snorted directly out of Belle Delphine's ass crack for the ruling class. If I had to condense all the wonderful, positive reasons to embrace hypocrisy down to just one thought, it would be thus. What's better than having your cake? Eating it too. For too long, men and women across all strata have tried to hold each other to the lofty and unattainable standard of abiding to the virtues and rules they profess to enjoy. Like crabs in a bucket, we have yanked our brothers and sisters away from their full potential. No more. There are people out there who sometimes need to be told that they have permission to help themselves. To them I say, listen close, bub. You have my express permission to be a hypocrite. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche writes about killing the oppressive dragon in our minds, labeled Thou Shalt, and replacing it with the free and fearless lion, labeled I Will. In this fashion, will we too assert our new mantras. I will do precisely that which shall yield me the greatest reward, even if I denounce doing it just 1 minute earlier. I will extract feelings of moral superiority out of my neighbors for tossing styrofoam into the recycling bin as I grind a cigarette butt into the sidewalk beneath my feet. I will defend freedom of speech until people start talking some shit I think is cringe or a threat to my business interests. I will leave my shopping cart wherever the hell I damn well please, thank you very much. And the fact that I used to work in a grocery store only makes it funnier. I will tip service workers like shit in order to slowly amass a small fortune, which I will use to then start buying my own politicians. With these smaller acts of hypocrisy, we can all start to wrench back the capital, the time, and the power that our leaders and industry titans have amassed to a level more than any other point in history. I leave you with a new pledge, based on the USA's own Pledge of Allegiance, because this article is getting long and I want to play Halo. I'm lazy, but if you've been paying attention, I don't think that's any excuse not to send me money. Anyway, the pledge isn't done with your hand over your heart, but instead with your fingers crossed behind your back and one eye constantly winking. It goes like this. I pledge allegiance to myself and whatever gives me money and power. And I'll do that until a better grift comes, even if I once said it was bad. Suck my dick and lick on my balls. How was that? Was that good? Did we all enjoy it? Real good, real nice. Woo! All right. With that said, do we get any reactions from y'all? Oh, okay, no one watching here. 4 concurrent viewers, maybe. Oh my god. All right, well, we're done with Mandelbrot here. Now we are going to move on to the man of the hour, the eponymous Belizian candidate, the man with the antivirus scan, Mr. John McAfee. And I think there's no better place to start than this video from his, I believe this was just after his 2016 election bid, April 21st of 2017.
Fuck. Send. Oh, hello there. My name is John McAfee. I'm the founder of the McAfee Antivirus Software Company. Although I've had nothing to do with this company for over 15 years, I still get volumes of mail asking, how do I uninstall this software? I have no idea.
There you go. Skip forward just a little bit here.
But recent events have made me change my mind. I've had, over the years, many responses from users who are complaining about the difficulty in removing the software. I'd like to read you a few things.
These don't matter. Hold on. Forgot how long-winded this is.
Should have to use Xhamster. I get dick and cunt rot and die a slow, agonizing death for limiting my porn use to Xhamster. No one should have to use Xhamster. I tried one final time and got the Urban Dictionary definition for McAfee. McAfee, a barely passable virus scanning program that updates at the worst possible times. Tends to render your computer completely useless whenever it starts an update, which it doesn't ask to start, and you cannot cancel or pause. McAfee updates at horrible times, almost like the creators want you to die. So I finally remembered how to uninstall McAfee antivirus software, and I've asked my friend Bartholomew to walk you through the steps. This is my lab tech, Bartholomew. He is going to take you through step by step the process of uninstalling the McAfee antivirus software. Well, say hello, Bartholomew. Yes, so if you need me, I'll be over here, and good luck.
The procedure for removing McAfee antivirus software from your computer is as follows. First, make sure you have a full backup.
Yes, Bartholomew. Back it up. Back it up. That's right. Very important. Back it up.
Is it becoming apparent, besides the man's recent untimely death, why I thought he might make a decent subject for a young Saturnian stream?
Sir, should I be reading the instructions for the Mac or PC? They're really quite different. Depending on which edition and version of McAfee's anti-malware software is installed on your computer, you may have to click on Remove, Uninstall, or a similarly named option to begin the uninstall process. When finished, reboot the system. John, are you getting this?
Yeah, yes.
You may have to download McAfee Consumer Product Removal Tool. John?
Huh? Yes.
Does that sound about right?
Well, not completely, you know. I mean, it's always there. It's watching. It's been watching me for years. Every time I turn on the fucking computer, it's there looking at me. You know, something went wrong. 15 years ago, I had some beautiful software, and they took it over. I don't know what they did. It was...
This guy ran for president. And you know what? He's not that far off base. I think he could have done it, honestly, if they'd given him a shot. I think his main flaw was probably running as a libertarian, which we will get into.
Like the time I hired that Bangkok prostitute to do my taxes while I fucked my accountant. It was terrible. The same fucking thing is going on now. But I know what to do. I know exactly what to do. Believe me, I've got a fucking solution right here.
Do I still have a stream after that? Okay, sweet, dude. Alright, well then let's move on to our next bit, which of course is the early life here. Now I had a hard time finding any videos about his early life right now because of the because of the current news around him. You type in John McAfee NASA, you type in John McAfee like aero trekking, it all just comes up that he's dead. Which I'm sorry, yeah, if you haven't heard, he allegedly committed suicide in a Spanish prison. We'll get into it. So in '87, he creates a thing. He creates McAfee to fight the viruses, but he's before that. He is, and I know this from other documentaries around. Shout out like OK Eyes Weird Stories did a great one on this, and there's a few others. But even at NASA and Xerox and all these things, he is a total like drug addict. He was like selling cocaine in the office. He came in like zooted off of a bunch of DMT, like he just came down off a bunch of DMT. I'm sure that that's only scraping the surface. Moving on from that, he gets into more like privacy things. first instant messenger program. This one I found interesting. At DEF CON in Nevada in 2014, he warned people not to use smartphones, suggesting apps are used to spy on clueless consumers who do not read user privacy arguments. Kind of ahead of his time. Was that actually? No, that wasn't ahead of his time, was it? When was Snowden? 2012? Something like that. Anyway, he would go on from that to get into cryptocurrencies like as soon as they came out, and from there his real troubles would begin. But we might come back to this. Wikipedia opens, so I'll leave that here. And you can see, as in line with his cryptocurrency fancy, like this is the website that I'll be using a lot for this stream. This is John McAfee Was Here, and it is at once his blog, and now it seems to be controlled by somebody else. But here, some of the writing is so clearly his. Once the government can demand of a publisher the names of the purchasers of his publication, the free press as we know it disappears. That was the Supreme Court of 1953. So, there's our boy. He fancied himself in the same space. The Fury is defending Dread Pirate Roberts. I'm sure that he loves Snowden and all of these other people who, of course, if you got a problem with them, I don't know what's wrong with you. I'm glad that Assange is getting out, by the way, or it seems like he will. There's some issue with his case. I don't really bother to read too much.
TC or the IRS comes to me and says, "What have you done?" I want to go, "Oh God, I'm sorry. I never thought that you might want to see what's happening. I made a mistake." But it can't be changed. Can't be altered, can't be controlled, can never be shut down. So this scares governments. Why? If they do not know where your income is coming from, what you're spending, then they can't collect income taxes, which is the largest single revenue source for almost every government.
I did not know that the first time that I saw it, but it really makes sense. They just like they put like a flat rate across everybody, and or not even a flat rate. It's scales or whatever, but it's just like, yeah, we need an extra chunk. Well, what for? We just need an extra chunk. Well, it seems like they've really been putting that to good use.
Now, in my mind, income taxes, at least in America, are illegal. They're unconstitutional, and until 1913, we didn't have them. Nevertheless, today, income taxes is the majority of the United States revenue source. Now, if you believe that people are going to be honest, and if they earn $100,322, that they're going to say so in their tax returns, knowing that the government doesn't know, there's no way for the government to find out, but yes, I'm going to be honest and tell you, that that's a lie.
That's a lie. I mean, we're already seeing it. We're already seeing this movement to contain this space, and for that I have this BBC article here where they interview in September of 2020 this guy named Chandler Guo, cryptocurrency pioneer. I believe he is. Yep, he's mining Bitcoin from a secret location in Western China. Very, very cool. At his peak, the machines were mining 1/3 of the world's Bitcoin. But now he sees a new force, a payment system created by the Chinese state known as the digital currency electronic payment. So there it is. It's starting there because, of course, China is an autocratic state. They can do really whatever they want. But you better believe that if the people higher up here or anywhere else didn't have to, like, orchestrate some funny reason why we have to switch over to like digital money. They just do it because it's all trackable and it would all come back to a central source. And in that regard, you have to herald McAfee for putting this forwards, although I would be cautious about that, because much like the story, or much like the writing piece that I read, John McAfee was putting that into practice for years, particularly in the realm of cryptocurrency, as we will see. But first, what he did, let's get to what he did, into a brief history of what he did after McAfee leaving his company. So he gets fucked up on the stock market crash because he invested in a bunch of homes, believe it or not. And we all know that the 2008 crash was highly related to home foreclosure, like a total collapse of bad loans. So he got fucked. And he took his money down to Belize, where he alleged that he would be starting some like biotech medical startup with his then girlfriend. But by 2012, when his compound was raided by the Belizian police, he answered the door naked and holding a gun, with a 17-year-old girl waiting terrified in his bed. He was manufacturing methamphetamines. If you were looking closely in that first video that I showed you of how to uninstall the antivirus software, he wasn't snorting coke off the desk. He was snorting bath salts, which is a kind of methamphetamine. We all remember the bath salt zombie. Yes. From way back in 2012. Yeah. So he was on this. They thought he was a zombie because he started trying to eat somebody's face. So for John McAfee, it allegedly did not manifest like that. It manifested as like a hypersexuality, where his dog, like, he couldn't let people who were also on it be alone with themselves for too long, or be alone with his animals, because they just got so horny they could not control themselves. They would go until they bled, like they would just rub themselves until they bled, or they would like try and get with whatever moved. So that's it. Yeah, that's a point against our man here. He was also allegedly a total nuisance to the local authorities. He claimed that he was innocent and that he was fighting political corruption, which is true. I believe he had his armed gunmen like patrolling his area at like wherever he would go. He would have like locally hired gangsters to defend him and keep the peace in his local area. He says a local politician wanted $2 million from him, but whatever. Let's see. Then we get to probably the grayest, the most gray area of his escapades, which is the death of Greg Fall. It says here he was a 52-year-old retired Florida restaurateur. He was impatient with the dogs that were left unleashed and threatening as he wandered past to reach his favorite beach bar every evening. Now, McAfee, from what I can recall, he alleges that Gregory Fall lived like a football field down the beach. And if he was bothered by the dogs, he had no reason to. Or like the people closest to him, people much closer to him on the beach, didn't seem to have these same problems. However, like that being said, the night before or 2 days, shortly beforehand, McAfee finds that his dogs have been poisoned, and people connect the dots that he must have blamed Gregory Fall for it and sent one of those local gangsters to handle it. I believe what McAfee claims is that it was another attempt by the Belizian government, but this time just on his life, not to arrest him. So one night they incapacitated his dogs. This is what he thinks happened. And then the next night maybe it was another team of people, but they got the wrong house. It's kind of a stretch, especially when you remember he's like 100 yards down the beach. So who knows? He claims his innocence. He even well, here we go. Here's him speaking out.
I have for 5 years lived in Belize peacefully. 7 months ago, the Belizean government sent 42 armed soldiers into my property. They killed one of my dogs. They broke into all of my houses. They stole. They arrested me and kept me handcuffed in the sun for 14 hours. I was taken to jail, and it was only the intervention of the U.S. Embassy that got me out of jail. Since that time, I've been continually harassed by the government. They have attempted to charge me with every crime, ranging from running an antibiotics laboratory without a license, to hiring security guards without a license, to having...
He absolutely did both of those things.
Improper paperwork for my company, and most recently, the murder of my neighbor. I had to leave, but the story has to get out. I have documentation that proves the intense corruption at all levels of the...
That's in the video. That's not out my window. This is this is what this area of this city sounds like.
Belizean government. Now that I'm in a safe place, I can speak freely. I will be talking on my blog, whoismcafee.com, starting tonight, revealing the truth about Belize, and thank you very much.
Now, I looked on whoismcafee.com to try and find his proof of innocence or what have you, or his speaking out against it. But what I found, all that I found from that keyword, Fall, like Greg Fall, is this article, or this very short, I don't know, letter of obfuscation and like, you know, I give you my thoughts and prayers. Here we go. Many years ago, a mentor shared a bit of wisdom with me that can be summed up in the following statement. Perception is reality. Complex in its simplicity, it is thought this basic premise that I have developed my understanding of how the world works over the last several decades. It is this bit of knowledge alone that has helped to guide me when the world seems to lack common sense. In the good old days of journalism, when being objective was at the heart of a story, yeah, like that ever happened, this was not a problem. With the rush of the over-sensationalized, self-serving writers calling themselves journalists in the market today, this is a problem. Receiving a fair trial in the court of public opinion today is next to impossible, and I can attest to that firsthand. So I'm writing this to hopefully dispel some of the rumors. First and foremost, I'd like to send my heartfelt condolences to the family of Mr. Fall. I barely knew him, but from what others have expressed, he was a kind, fun-loving man that was only looking to make the best of his retirement years. With that said, the sad fact remains that the person that killed Mr. Fall is still walking around a free man and or women, and that is no longer tolerable. The corruption and disregard for human life in Belize has to stop, and Mr. Fall's murderers must be brought to justice. If it is of any value to Mr. Fall's family, I would like to offer any support, and I've already offered a $25,000 reward if there's anything else I can do. I hope they will let me know. Now, I clicked that link. You can see $25,000 reward is highlighted. And it's a $25,000 BZ reward, meaning Belizian money, which translates in the current day to 2,500 Belize dollar. Oh, sorry. Did you say 25,000? Yeah, it was 25,000, wasn't it? $25,000 is actually 12,400 American dollars. So, good job. Or like that seems like a lot. Although I'm sure by this time his faculty, his money has to have been dwindling this whole time because he's not doing anything up until this next saga that he gets in, where he continues to push these various cryptocurrencies. And I'd like to, before I get into his charges and his affidavit and things like that, I'd just like to point out that a few days ago, we had this Save the Kids crypto scam, which was done by a bunch of FaZe Banks guys and the lovely Rice Gum. So check this shit.
Do you know what they did? They took hard work earned money. Individuals like FaZe K, Jarvis, Nikon, Tico, Rice Gum took individuals' hard work earned money through the Save the Kids cryptocurrency scam. They used the name kids. How disgusting is this behavior? And you're suspending them. They should be permanently gone. They should be gone for life. Never ever be back on FaZe Clan. And there should be a lawsuit in on this. Expose the rug pull. Look at the monthly chart. Why did it dump so hard? Why there was the big sell-off? Because people found out about the crypto scam. It was a rug pull, pump and dump at the very early stages. We never seen that. But FaZe Clan exposed themselves. The members that were involved in this exposed themselves as they did it. They exposed themselves by taking the money. Let's say this. People invested in this cryptocurrency thinking it was for a good cause. And it was an investment where they believe they can probably make some money off. Like they can make some gains. Because that's what you invest in. You invest in a project you strongly believe in. People invested in Save the Kids because of the whole concept of it, helping kids out, and the fact that it was backed by powerful social media influencers who they didn't know were scammers.
So, with the Save the Kids thing, I believe the number was that this coin, when it dropped, would be a lot like... the actual bit that went to charity, and this is something that I find to be a huge flaw with most major, most established major charities like UNICEF and the Pink Ribbon stuff, is just how much money goes to the overhead of the company and like paying salaries out and all this stuff. It's ridiculous. It's like over 75%. I think Susan G. Komen, the Pink Ribbon stuff, almost all of it is just going to the people who work at the charity. It's ridiculous. And it's sinful. I'll tell you that. Oof, I'll stand by that. This, on the other hand, is a crypto, like a crypto thing. So yeah, the idea is that a bunch of people invest in it. Some people get rich off of it, but either way, there'll be some portion of the exchange that is going to help the kids. I'm pretty sure, if I'm recalling correctly, that the number that actually went to the kids was 3%, or yeah, it was 1% of 3%, which it's absolutely minuscule no matter how you cut it. They'd have to be getting like billions of dollars before 3% of 1% is anything. I think together it didn't even get, I'm not sure that it was even over $1,000 by the time that this was over. But what you had was initial coin investors, and I'm sure the members of FaZe Clan and Rice Gum were involved, or like they definitely had some coins at the start. So they started around 0.003 cents, and then it shoots up to about 0.004.5 cents, and then the dump begins. So you're looking at people who are plus 50%ing whatever their initial coin offer buy-in was, and then they're stealing all of that money that people on that sharp uptick invested in. If nothing happens to these guys, like legally, or there's no fundamental change, then what has happened to McAfee stands out as being, particularly like, why the focus on McAfee? And to that end as well, we have the recent business with Elon Musk and Bitcoin, where he sends out this they sent out this lame text right after I invested, by the way. Right after I put a little more money in. So yeah, I'm waiting for that to go back up. Elon, thank you very much. He says, quote, Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin. We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emissions of any fuel. This guy is launching rockets into space, by the way. Cryptocurrency is a good idea on many levels, and we believe it has a promising future, but this cannot come at great cost to the environment. He's launching rockets so that he can get access to new environments. Tesla will not be selling any Bitcoin, and we intend to use it for transactions as soon as mining transitions to a more sustainable energy. We are also looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy and transaction. Since then, or just in that brief period of time, Bitcoin went down 13% to 49.6. It's now somewhere in the low 30s, and we're waiting for the next bull market. But you can blame the start of that. I mean, of course, there's market factors, and it was really high up. But you can say that the bubble was popped by tweets like this, and if nothing changes or nothing happens to to Elon Musk as a result of this, then like why did we focus on John McAfee so hard? Knowing that this is from, I don't believe this is from 2021. I believe that this is a video. Okay, yeah, this video was published in July 2020, right before his arrest for a series of pump and dump schemes similar to what FaZe Clan did. So here you go, check this out.
The deep state is a conspiracy theory it's defined as the people within the U.S. government and military who are in secret control of government policy. Secret? Please, people. The deep state is those people within the U.S. government that are career employees that cannot be fired by people that we elect by the Congress or the President. There are the FCC, the CIA, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the IRS. Are these people in control? Can they enact laws? Fuck yes. They're called regulations.
He's not wrong there. This is another one that's like, it's connected. It's in the same vein as what I was talking about with 5G thing here. They want to, like, I think the Q thing really blew it out of proportion, where it's just the bureaucrats that you don't elect. People don't really have much of a say beyond, like, what can you elect? You can elect like 5 people in the federal government who like really matter. And that's like, that's it. Like you can elect like 5 people in Washington D.C. out of millions. I don't know exactly how many people live there or work, specifically work in those facilities. But he's not wrong.
For every law that Congress passes, and we elect Congress to pass our laws, there are 20 regulations enacted by federal agencies that have far more impact on our lives than anything Congress can possibly pass. Is there a deep state? Yes. Can we fire these people? No. Can presidents fire them? No. It's designed that way so that political parties and political interests cannot affect the deep state. Do you understand the nightmare of our situation, people? I'm sorry.
That laugh seemed particularly fake upon rewatching. That was a little weird.
It's not secret. It's as open as anything could be. In the past, since 1975, 200,000 regulations have been passed by our federal agencies, encompassing 800,000 pages of fine print. People, it is no secret.
It is as open as it can be. The deep state does control America. Wake up, people, please. God, use some common fucking sense.
Now, 1 week after we got that video on McAfee's Twitter, we have this from whoismcafee.com. We see that John McAfee is arrested in Spain on U.S. criminal charges pending extradition. Right from the Justice Department. He allegedly hid a bunch of stuff. We don't need to see the actual tweet. But yeah. Right after that is when they start cracking down on my man. Our boy. And he is then imprisoned for 8 months in a Spanish jail. And you can see, like, during the time that he was in there, he was on Twitter. They gave him phone access, I'm sure temporarily. And he says stuff like this: I am content in here. I have friends. The food is good. All is well. Know that if I hang myself a la Epstein, it will be no fault of mine. And yeah, he's a total bullshitter. But he's also a textbook narcissist. And I don't believe that this pump and dump indictment where he was going to be extradited back to the United States would suddenly prompt him to kill himself. Like, he said that he spoke Spanish very poorly, and that, you know, I'm sure that he would be happy to be able to speak his language again and get, like, fuck with the prison guards or whatever. But on top of that, I think one fact that people grossly overlook is that he's being extradited from Spain to America. We just saw Epstein, like, do his thing. There's in a supermax prison, that one of the most prized prisoners of all time was able to kill himself. So I highly doubt that McAfee would have much more trouble, like, doing what he did if he actually was convicted and sent off to prison. He can do that at any time he wants, and we know that he's like, you know, he has narcissistic personality disorder. Why not ride it out and come back to America? That's the thing that doesn't make sense to me. And we see now there's like a new angle to this whole thing now, where because right after he died, I guess somehow a large Q was posted on his Instagram, which seems like a troll. But he claimed to have some sort of dead man switch, as we'll see, and it was tied to this tattoo on his arm and a Ethereum cryptocurrency token.
All right, boys, so here's what we know about John McAfee's dead man switch so far. If you followed McAfee, you knew that he got this $ whacked tattoo on his arm back in 2019. And this was one of several examples of McAfee telling us that he's not suicidal, he's not going to kill himself, but he felt like people were going to have him killed off and make it look like a suicide, just like they did with Jeffrey Epstein. This man had some of the most powerful people in the world after him, and then a few minutes after McAfee's death, the whacked contract activated, and people were able to start buying it on Uniswap V2. So this is his dead man switch, or at least this is one aspect of it, a cryptographic token. But here's some info about it, right? So the total supply, well, let's look at the total initial supply. It's 10 to the 27th power coins. But if we take a look at the current supply, it's already down about 20% since this started. So here's what's going on here. You have to go to this archived site.
So you can see this here if you're listening. It says 10% of all transactions will be burned, and 1 out of 1,000 transactions will be burned. Which I guess that's just like slightly higher than 10%. Oh, 1 out of 1,000 transactions. Just an extra little tiny bit there. So what he's saying is, what this coin does is I guess it simulates. It's a coin that steadily kills itself. But then, like, whatever the market cap is still there, so all the other coins should slightly increase in a proportion to their value. And of course, we have, you know, some meme images around there.
So with Whacked, we know that it's a fixed supply. New coins can't be arbitrarily minted. 10% of all transactions will be sent to a burn address, which means those coins will be destroyed. So if you try to buy like 10K of this token, then 1K of them are supposed to be destroyed. Also, 1 out of every 10,000 transactions are going to have the entire thing burned. So there's a 0.1% chance that if you try to buy or sell this token, that all of the coins in that transaction are just going to be sent to a burn address instead. So as a result of these two different ways that people's tokens can be whacked, the supply of the coins has already gone down 20% from that initial amount. So
interesting stuff, right? I mean, hopefully there's more to it. I'd like to see that it's more than just another like pump and dump kind of like shitcoin deal. A man can dream. let's move on to we got the second to last video here. This is our boy talking at the Libertarian I don't know. What is this? The Libertarian National Convention in 2016.
We must stop sitting around dinner tables and endlessly debating the NAP and other issues, no matter how much fun it is. And we must not expect any longer that America will break down our doors and demand to be educated and enlightened. It is time this year for you and me, I have been doing it, to take some action. Go outside to America. They will not come to us. They will not. We must go to them, and I intend to go to them on this train ride with that bright light of the public on this campaign, but not on me, reflected on all of you and all of America. And I want to raise this curtain behind which the mechanism that creates the obscenities of these two parties. I want to raise that curtain and show America the truth. And if you think I can't do it, well, you don't know what cybersecurity really means. I can, and we must, and we will. And whether or not I get this nomination, I promise you I will not shut up. And those of you in the party, who want to help me with the Vote Different initiative and help educate whoever does conduct that train in how we can win, not the presidency, but America, the hearts and the minds, then please come and see me, and I can talk to you. Thank you very much.
R.I.P. John McAfee. You are a madman and a scoundrel. But you'll always be my president. So with that, I think I'll leave you with this outro song here of John McAfee at some undisclosed location playing the piano. If you're still with us, I really want to thank you for listening this far. And I look forward to seeing you next week. I'll be doing these just an hour a week between 8 and 9 on Saturday nights. And I hope that you'll spread the word. You'll hit that subscribe button. You will hit that bell thing. And you'll post it wherever... Excuse me. You'll post it wherever like-minded individuals are found. So have a good night again. Love you all. Peace. Epstein... John McAfee didn't kill himself, and Epstein's still alive.